Well, it is Good Morning Uganda agenda, and every morning we make sure we give you a full course meal of information that you need, both globally and of course back home. And in this very segment, that is Good Morning Uganda agenda, we have a guest in studios and we discuss issues of relevancy. This morning we want to look at governance and democracy, more so focusing at the youth as well of this country. And I'm joined by the coordinator, Youth Coalition for Electoral Democracy, and that is Otim Ivan. Ivan, you're most welcome.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Uganda. Happy to be here.
And let me start by understanding, when we talk about this coalition, that is Youth Coalition for Electoral Democracy, and you're the national coordinator,
yes,
the policy analyst. What do you do? What is your mandate, or what is this organization all about?
So the Youth Coalition for Electoral Democracy has existed since the three electoral processes. And what is important here is that young people came together to understand that the policy-making processes were either inward or were not thinking from their perspective. So they galvanized themselves, and when they did that, they began to write what they call the Nationalist Manifesto. So the Nationalist Manifesto is a political framework document for young people that they begin to develop during the electoral campaigns. And they use this document in a manner of so many processes. For example, they use this document to influence political party manifestos, because within that time they're taking a bet on who will take the leadership of this country. So while we influence the issues that matter to young people, then they also believe that the next government will be able to implement some of the issues that matter to them. Yeah, so when we come after the election, then we run into the policy advocacy interventions that then must make sure that politics works, because elections are about issues that matter. So we go into elections where we charge the responsibility of electing leaders with the responsibility of acting on our behalf. And that's where policy issues come in. So when we have young people speaking on what policies government should be able to focus on, they're actually telling government that we are great stakeholders in this country, and that we need to be listened to, and we are great benefactors when things are right, and otherwise also when things are not doing very well. Yeah.
Well, when you talk about the youth, no one doubts this is the biggest population of Uganda, and we are among the countries in the world that have a young population. Yeah. Recently, UBOS issued statistics indicating a very big percentage of Ugandans still in poverty, yeah, and most of the most affected being the youth. Yeah. Now, help us understand in terms of policies, yeah, how sweet are policies for the youth in terms of that is a good governance and electoral democracy, because at the end of the day, it also has a financial inclination.
That's true. So when you both releases a report that about 18 million young people are definitely in poverty, multidimensional poverty index, then you begin to analyze and assess that either many of these are young people. And we know that this country is definitely a youth population, and we know that the impact that this population will have on the economic development of this country is definitely very much important. Whereas we're talking about a population bulge, we know that population bulges come when, for example, there is no ideal investment. So if we take care of the ideal investment in sectors like education, sectors like employment, sectors like livelihood and welfare of our young people, then we begin to address so many of these barriers going forward. Thank you.
Well, you've talked about when we do this, when we do that, but we've just come from an election. Yeah. Of course, we have a few by-elections here and there, but what are those urgent policies that you feel either were put in the Youth Manifesto or weren't, but should be brought to the table so that they are addressed if you are to push forward electoral democracy in this country?
So political participation is an ultimate right, and elections give us that power as citizens to elect the leaders, and thereafter hold those leaders accountable. So when you look at the framework of how young people's participation has been enhanced in electoral democracy, you really see a gap. Elections in Uganda have been inclined on violence. Elections do not cause violence. The factors that cause violence are within us as the people, where we as political parties don't want to bridge the issues that matter to the people, but also we want to create conflicting issues within society. So if elections matter very much, and young people's political participation is very important, one of the key issues that you can be able to question is what is the levels of political participation of young people in political parties? Do we have young people at, for example, NRM SEC? I would question that. Do we have young people? If that is the question that we're talking about numbers, can we have the numbers, the quantitative aspect, speak qualitatively? Can we begin to create room that nurtures these young people to begin to meaningfully participate? We are seeing a different trend around politics and electoral democracy, which is not good for this country. I think we are nurturing young people in the wrong way. Whereas we'll be able to put young people on the edge and accuse them of all sorts of behaviors, we can also begin to understand that the politics of the day is not nurturing young people to hold on to the country in the future. So we have bad trends that are happening because the spaces within the political parties that are supposed to be nurturing young people are either closed out for them, and if they're participating, they're not participating actively in the decision-making processes. Yeah, so when it comes to also the realms in society, the civic space, you really see that the nature of how young people are used as instruments during campaigns, either poster holders or violence tools, then that does not become political participation. That does not come meaningful, does not turn them to meaningful political participation of young people. Because then young people are not mobilized in a positive way. They are actually mobilized in negatives, in a negative way that does not really stand well to the growth of this country's politics.
Rightly said, also, let's look at having the right information as young people in this country for them to be able to influence policies. You talk about young people being involved but not participating. That you find them in political parties, they're at the lower ranks. When it comes to being in politics, that you'll find these young people just at the level of throwing stones sometimes, making good noise, but in terms of determining what should be done. Civil society organization, in particular to looking at the Youth Coalition, this brings together a number of civil society organizations.
That's true.
What are you doing, apart from holding government accountable and seeing government wrong, as far as nurturing and ensuring that you have competent leaders with vast information, knowledge, exposure to cause the change that you want in terms of having proper policies in this country?
So just like I mentioned that prior to the election, young people galvanized their voices. And for us who coordinate this, we just do a role of synthesizing these issues with what government is planning within the NDP 3 programs. But again, come up with issues that probably we think are very critical for them. So we have a youth manifesto that has 5 agendas. One is on youth employment, where we're thinking about creation of jobs, but also creating of environment. Whereas we can't assume that government can be able to create enough jobs. We can assume that government can create an enabling environment where those young people that are willing to start their businesses can thrive. The tax incentives that are going to multinational corporations can also be made for young people. In this country, you have high business growth, But again, you have high business exit. Businesses do not see their birthdays because one, the nature of why they are started is inclined on survival. Many young people are starting businesses on survival. But even those that are starting businesses and they want to grow their businesses, the environment is not allowing them to sustain those businesses. So in the policy making processes, can we begin to think about where the bottlenecks of where we have, for example, about 2 million young people paying taxes? Can that become a problem for us? Can that become a problem for Parliament? Instead of doing so many policies that probably they're not even measuring how they're impactful, can now we begin to look at policies that are critical for this country? If we have 2 million people paying taxes, where is the problem? Can we begin to go and look at for the issues that we can be able to come on the table and address? And then because tax is very important for this country, there is no country that does not rally on taxation. But however, also retrogressive taxation systems are detrimental for the economy. And in this lens, when young people are starting their businesses and they cannot sustain them and government cannot create enough jobs, then we have a nexus between enragement of young people and engagement.
So that is part of the Youth Manifesto?
That is critical to the Youth Manifesto. But also we also begin to think that as a country we are a sleeping economy. Other countries operationalize on a 24-hour economy. We can assume that our economy is driving on 12 hours. But again, I can tell you that even those 12 hours don't count because you will spend 3 hours in the jam, get to the desk of your office, go and take tea, go out for lunch, come back at 4. So you really see that the time that people have to work, and this is across even in the business, when you go to the business areas down there, this is how people have begun to nurture the use of time. Countries that grow know the value of time. Time is a very big resource for an economy to grow. We are a sleeping economy because for us we believe as within our young people that if we create a double-fold economy that operates, that whereas we can't create enough jobs, can we create jobs that are also running at night? Do we have a shift net employment? That those young people that cannot come to the job market in the day can come to the job market in the night. So that we stop being a sleeping economy. We have been to countries where economies operationalize throughout the 24-hour economy, and they're successful. And time is a very good factor. The efficiency on how they use time is critical. Yeah.
Well, we're still looking at governance and electoral democracy, and I have Otim Ivan, who happens to be the National Coordinator, Youth Coalition for Electoral Democracy, and we are trying to look at some of the policies we have in this country. How are they favoring, that is, the youth? Because we know at one time they will be in control of this country. What do we mean? That they will reach that age, and we must ensure that we have a conducive environment for them. We must ensure that we have conducive policies for them that will favor them to achieve their full potential so that they can shine and excel in the different fields. Now, Ivan, yes. You've talked about ensuring that you tell the country, you tell these political parties what the youth want.
Yeah.
But most of the times, I look at a number of NGOs and they'll tell you we are doing advocacy on this particular area or the other area, depending on what they want or what the vision of their donors was. But do you think you've had an impact, more so in terms of youth knowing that they can push their agendas through right platforms?
Yeah.
Today, we look at educated, not educated, violence first thing. You have an epitome, the Ivory Tower, where you have campaigns and a life is lost. Where people think it's violence. You have by-elections. Thank God, Soroti, we didn't have campaigns that went that rowdy. But we pray and hope that we have learned. Day by day, we are seeing people moving away from dialogue. And there are claims that maybe you that push for these various advocacies, maybe you're moving away from reason into violence.
Thank you so much for that question. I would argue it this way, that democracy is a practice. Democracy is a behavior. Democracy has principles. Democracy is a value system. And if we default on one of those, then definitely we have a cost to pay as a country. And from the angle that I said earlier, that if democracy is a practice, what is the practice that is nurturing young people meaningfully? Elections do not cause violence. Elections never cause violence. Actually, elections are an instrument through which people use their power to elect the leaders with whom they will charge the responsibility of running the state of affairs on their behalf. What has changed? That the leaders go in offices and want to run the affairs on their own selves. They want to do things that matter to them, not what matters to the people. And I think that's where enragement comes in. When we see a complete disconnect between elections and the aftermath of an election cycle, then you begin to understand that we have lost the meaning of elections. Understanding that elections give us the responsibility. Why elect so-and-so, so that because I believe that so-and-so will give me that issues on the table, will put the issues on the table that matter to me. But now for the angle of violence coming in, I think we have put elections in the context of violence, you know? And I think I've even had it in the recent conversations of Kenya, where I was seeing the RDC doing an analysis of the eventualities that may come. That if we have violence in elections in Kenya, then this is what we shall do. I think the issue is not about elections and violence. The issue is about what are the actors doing to make sure that the conversations of an election campaign is not hate speech, but about issues. Because that's what matters. Tell me that I'm going to work on your health education system. And then that becomes a choice for me to vote for you. Tell me that we are going to change the tide of youth unemployment of this country. And when we come to the election, we make it very sure that we address some of these problems by creating all the obstacles and creating incentives and programs like government is creating. Of course, we know the PDM is also addressing that kind of crisis. But can we also begin to think of other avenues through which we can create more employment? Because the nature of joblessness growth, in this situation of economic downfall, we're seeing joblessness is increasing. We're also seeing underemployment increasing. Underemployment means that I'll get a job, but I will not get the salary that is satisfying to my living wages and minimum wage income. But again, also, we are seeing unemployment also rising. And these factors all have an economic, social effect on this country. Can we begin to project some of these effects in the country that we all love? And if we know that if this is the effect, then we can know, for example, that we can be able to create a solution. In the morning, I heard you talk about the border economy that you want to legislate. I think registering borders is not a bad thing at all.
True.
But I can tell you that if we don't understand the impact of whatever actions we are doing, then we are there to fall. For example, I know the border industry in Kenya has registered the 1.4 million borders, where 1.2 of these are young people. Now, do we have statistics for this border? If we're talking about youth unemployment, and these young people have fixed themselves in unemployment, and even worse still, they had to go and get loans for those borders. And when we want to legislate and say this get out, this get in, do we know the impact of that? Do we know the effect that is likely to happen when we call some of these policies that are kind of a mismatch? So can we begin to have policy making from angles? I know it may look like it's a security issue, but can we also begin to understand that the industry, the border industry, is an economic issue? I'll tell you, for example, in Kenya, the industry brings in 980 million Kenyan shillings, which is equivalent to about $9.8 million. That's the economy. Now, when we go to finance, does finance know the impact of this industry on the economy? Before we begin to do this small politics of you get out, get in, can we register them as the industry? And now know, for example, if self-border is a very piece of benchmark for us to capture, can we go that way and say, okay, now I know that when I get to a safe border, I know the number of person who has taken me home. I can follow them up, you know. So if that is the way, can we have those thinking, that line, and drive the industry, because it's a huge industry. It's not going to die.
Definitely.
It's not going to die. But if we're going to say 600 people work here, so you don't work here, then we have a very big crisis that we are going to create as a country.
Well, still looking at that is governance and electoral democracy. Now, Ivan, let's look at information. Yeah. Because information is power.
True.
Most of the times we've had reports that the youth are acting in manner which they're acting on our political or the current of this country is because of lack of right information. And I know one of the things you do is advocacy. Give me an assessment to what level has a Ugandan youth understood their rights, but also responsibilities?
Rightly said that governance is about rights, it's also about responsibilities. And that's why I told you that when you elect the leaders that we want, we don't stop in there. We come back after the elections with the responsibility of helping those leaders perform, but also holding them accountable. The issue about information will come in twofold. That now, if it's about governance issues, if government has the responsibility of educating people on various issues, which I know they have done very greatly, we can take the measurable aspect of to what extent, what mediums have been used, how are they communicating to a greatest population of this country, what platforms are they using to engage. Because I know, for example, the tide around communication has changed, that young people would want to be communicated to in youth-friendly approaches. For example, if young people love social arts, music, can we use those platforms to communicate? And what are we communicating? If the media is a huge industry here in Uganda, what levels of talk shows do you have that are communicative to these young people? If we are talking about communication in terms of just music and dance, and that's what we think young people like, but we have an impact. Policies about the issues. These young people are going to take care of a country where they know nothing about how to govern. They know nothing about how to lead. They know nothing about issues about policy. And that's also a very big issue that comes in from the disconnect between our education system and the job market. We have graduates that are not skilled to the job market. They cannot innovate. They cannot think critically. And that's a crisis for us that we must be able to fix. If we go back to the education system, whereby if we want to create an economy that is thriving, then the education system must be able to address the mismatches of the job market.
What are some of these mismatches? I enjoy reading some of the reports when we are told, you know, civil society organizations launch a lot of reports.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you for that, because even if implementation is not done, but at least there is something that maybe scholars will one day refer to. But then you'll hear mismatch here, mismatch there. When you talk about democracy, they'll tell you mismatch. So what is that you feel is a mismatch that government must focus on, where it has an impact and we need to correct it within our education?
The first mismatch, I'll drive it to government. We know we're in the 4th industrial revolution. And COVID brought us to understand that the digitalization of an economy is so much important than ever before. Now, if we know other countries that are growing digital, are doing digital economy, and everywhere it's about digital, e-commerce systems, e-governance systems, now the education system is do we have these skills capacities in government? We know, for example, very many universities that went during the COVID lockdown, many professors didn't know how to use even the basic tool of Zoom. That's a mismatch from the government side, from a service delivery point of view. But also the mismatch is that when you have an education system that is focused on inculcating young people into their ability to understand that they will be job seekers and not job creators. So that comes into the bit of innovation, where the education system is even mismatched in the innovation ability. That's why other countries are thinking even far 4 or 5 years ahead. For us, we may not be able to think that in the education system.
We've just revised our lower secondary curriculum.
Yeah. For example, I know in the US, IBMs will go to technological universities. And what they do what they do in there is that they will influence what innovations they want to see among those young students. And then young people will begin to create what the company would want in the 5-10 years job market. There are two things they will have done. They would have enabled young people to innovate, to think critically beyond what the papers and the curriculum is talking about. But also they would have enabled that young man graduate from a university and ready to apply the relevant skills for the job market that IBM would have wanted for that critical time. If the software, they want to create a software for that time, then they will be relevant for the job market. We are seeing here the education system is completely mismatched with the private sector. The private sector is a very huge player. We have a statistic, I'm talking about a curriculum that does not change. Even when they're facilitating it, it's not contextualized. You want to stick to the script and not open up the thinking of young people. I think that is wrong. Let's allow the MTNs go to Makerere University in the Faculty of Technology and tell young people that MTN is thinking like this in the next few features. And that will allow young people innovate.
To innovate, to find solutions.
To find solutions. We had young people innovate during COVID.
Oh, they did.
Where are these innovations for
hand
upscale?
washing machines.
Where are these innovations?
Yes.
Where is government support? Where is private sector support? These innovations can be able to create jobs. In fact, I can tell you, other countries support ideations, ideas. Just an idea is just enough for you and say, I am thinking like this. There are young people who have ideas. Just go at the university and check all those research papers that we used to graduate. Very many of our professors at the back of their seats are ideas that for them they believe to think that these are just marks to graduate. But young people have written research proposals, which are actually practical ideas that can help us create jobs. So when you have that kind of mismatch, then you have a problem. You have a very, very big problem.
Well, still looking at a number of challenges in terms of governance and electoral democracy, we've talked about gaps here and there. But what do you think as a country, Uganda, that we can say, here we are doing well, and maybe from your perspective, away from just looking at what is not being done, what do we have to cherish, if there is?
So what we need to cherish at the country is that we have a youth population, and that
But many say that is a time bomb.
Just because we have not refocused the investment. The policies are not speaking to that population. The quantitative reality is not speaking qualitatively. Let's not even think about smearing that reality. The policy making, I'll be repetitive, the policy making is not speaking to that reality.
Okay.
For example, we have very many young people that graduate. The nature of brain drain, the nature of young people going out this country in terms of
looking for greener
pastures is a high thing, which has a negative impact on the economy. Of course, short term is that you allow them go so that they don't create the problems that you try to hide.
They send money back.
They send money back. But when they come to create that money, they send this money back and want to start these businesses. The same environment that they left will find them. The taxation system, that they will go to Chikuba, want to open up a business, and they will fail to thrive. That's the reality. That's the reality. But the human capital development of this country is huge. It's good. I would say it's good that young people can go to school. But also we can question now the quality of the education they're receiving. Can we compete with the education in Kenya?
Well said. We have a population. We just need to have the right policies in place because they're energetic, they dominate, they're the majority. How do we plan for them effectively? Well, Ivan, looking at time, I must let you go. But if I let you go, let me have your parting shot.
Yeah, so the parting shot is that we have policymakers, and my call here is to ensure that let's assess the policies that we're making, and that whatever is not working, can we come back to the same young people? Because the young people in this country have ideas. Can we meaningfully engage them on some of these issues? Can we be invited to Parliament, for example, to analyze some context? And there are various young people across this country in various political divides, religions, call it what, who can be able to put some of these ideas. And why we do that, we are preparing ourselves to take over a country that we shall need to find in good shape and also carry forward as a population. Because then there's no other country that we want to love rather than Uganda. Thank you so much.
I want to thank you so much. Otim Martin, that is the National Coordinator, Youth Coalition for Electoral Democracy. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And of course, the message to the youth is protect this country. And remember, you have a role to play because whatever you do today has an implication of what will happen in your later days. Where I come from, there's a saying that urges youth to work, to be focused. It says, meaning the things you do now will greatly determine what your old days are going to be. If you promote peace, you'll reap peace in your olden days. Have a lovely day.
Thank you.
The Corporate Games Season 2022-2023 is here. Don't miss lots of fun and networking. 12 sports disciplines and over 2,000 participants with over 40 corporate companies in one place. This happens every first Sunday of every month. For more information, contact info@corporategamesug.com or visit our website www.corporategamesug.com, or you can call us on 0700-339-048 or 0785-642-953. Don't miss on Sunday, 7th August of 2022 at Chambogo University. The Corporate Games, inspiring corporates through sports.
The Tales of Kasozi, brought to you by Uganda Communications Commission.
Hello?
Hello?
This is Kasozi. How can I help you?
Hey, Kasozi, my brother. Long time. We last met when we were at campus. It's been a while, but you are the person I'm looking for.
Campus? Really?
Hey, you don't remember me?
Okay, so how can I help you?
I'm stuck in Gulu making millions, and I need to urgently send money to my sick mother. But I can't find any mobile money agent near me. I've sent the money to your phone, as you can see the message. It might take a few minutes to come through, but I urgently need you to send the money to my mother. Let me send you her number, and you send it to her chap.
My friend, I'm afraid your mom is going to die.
What?
Because I don't know you, I never went to campus, and I'm also in Gulu. So can we meet at CPS, we talk about it?
Stay tuned for what Kasozi does next.
Tofera. Refrain from unnecessary engagement with strangers over the phone. This message is powered by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Thank you so much for joining us live on UBC TV. We are coming to you live from Nile Avenue, just opposite Coast State Towers and next to Parliament and National Theatre. My name is Ruben MP Machivirango. I expect Mr. Bamuteze from the Corporate League. But before I go to him, or before he joins us, I'll first have to get an update from the man in a Birmingham village, that is John Barnes Centamo. Really, yesterday he had a good vibe. I don't know about today, but I'm sure yesterday there was something somewhere with John Barnes. Barnes, good morning, John Barnes.
Good morning, Ruben. How are you? Today are you hearing me first? Because yesterday we struggled with sound.
Good to see you. You are looking fresh and healthy.
Yeah, now, what I'm putting on here is the attire, the ceremonial attire given to us as Team Uganda. That is it. That is it what I'm putting on today. And I come to you live from the Hilton Hotel, which is a games village called NEC, outside here. Where the transport section is, right behind where the transport section is. We come out here, we get our buses and go to various destinations or locations. Like I told you, the games are spread far and wide. So you live here, you go to University of Birmingham, you go to University of Warwick. So this is what exactly I do. But these guys are very, very, very timely. They keep time, Ruben. When this bus behind me is supposed to leave at in the next 3 minutes, it does. Even if it's you, Ruben, keep it on Bima. They
wait for me.
They will not wait for you. That bus will leave. It will leave as long as this driver comes. For example, it's still very early, by the way. Something else I want to tell, especially our children that are watching this. It's if your time there is 8:45, it's 6:45 in the morning.
Okay.
But it's already a clear day in these parts of the country. This is what happens in the summer, but then in the winter, it's a little different. For example, lately, we see the dark of night at around 10 p.m. UK time, which is about midnight Uganda time. But then in winter, when winter comes, they see dark at around 3 p.m. during the day.
Okay.
So there's a little, because of the seasons of the year, they really come to them so much. We never see seasons in Uganda. For us, it's almost full blast. Musana. Then the rain comes once in a while. But ultimately, we're starting to enjoy the weather down here. But this is the Hilton Hotel. Like I told you, Ruben, yesterday. Let the noisemakers keep quiet. This is the Hilton Hotel. John Barnes is not in Kisenyi.
They thought you were in Kisenyi here in Kampala, hiding.
Yeah, I was in my Kazigo in Kisenyi, hiding and giving them updates. We never do that at the public broadcaster that UBC is. And of course, we thank whoever enabled this trip come through. We are at the home of sports and the Commonwealth is. Anyway, Ruben, we had some action yesterday. It's good to see that a couple of others, especially the badminton players, got some results.
Before you go there, John Barnes, I want you to talk to us about England won the Euro for the first time in 50 plus years. So I want you to talk about, in 1 minute, the atmosphere after that triumph.
Yeah, that day, that found me watching, yes, I left my hotel room and the game was starting. So I went to, but I had to watch Uganda play against Trinidad and Tobago. I think that must be the day. When I reached the hall, there were updates given to the English fans in there. When their team got that winner goal, man, Ruben, these guys love their country so much. They shouted the hell off. It wasn't that team in action in netball, but they shouted their all their voices, on the top of their voices, and even on the streets around, all the volunteers you found on the day told you how they have brought it home. You know that brought it home slogan, bring it home, bring it home. The English start it whenever there is a tournament they're going to play. They never bring it home, especially in the men's football, but they brought it home in the women's version of it. And tell you what, the parties are still going on even up till now. When you find any of them, they will tell you we are European champions, we are going to the World Cup next year, and we shall try to be at our best. Let's wait when it comes to New Zealand and Australia, whether they will actually be able to get the result that they demand in this country.
Okay, back to the Commonwealth Games bands. Give us an update regarding the games.
Yeah, we weren't able to perform as we expected to in the 10,000 women's, 10,000 meters women's category last evening. Defending champion Stella Chisang finishing 4th, and that is out of the way now. We look forward to see what comes up for us in activities happening now and then. We've got guys in athletics, Haron Adoli, Leni Shida, at the upper stages of the athletics in their respective categories, 200 and 400 meters. Then we've got a girl that is taking the UK by surprise and storm. Hardly Ugandans know about her, Jacinth Nyamuhunge. Jacinth Nyamuhunge is into the 200 meters today, but what she's doing on the track is very impressive and showing signs that it's only a matter of time for her to break through. Remember, Ruben and Ugandans watching, that we are not so good when it comes to short distances. The marathons and the longer distances, middle distances, we are a little better. But when it comes to the shorter distances, we are not that good. So when you see a girl, especially a girl, coming to try to be the footsteps of Justin Baiga. Justin Baiga didn't perform pretty well at these levels where we are at, but she was exemplary in whatever she actually did. So Justin Nyamuhunge is one we look forward to today. She's in action. A couple of other lads down there at the Alexander Stadium, which is about, Ruben, you are from Buikwe. Yeah, okay, Buikwe is a basic example. Let me give this. They are in Buikwe, I'm in Kampala. So it's a bit the span of distance between the two is a little complex for us. Yet also here where I'm at the Hilton. Do you see that, Ruben? At the Hilton.
Yes, I can see.
I'm at the Hilton.
I can see, sir. Not the Hilton
not the ordinary hotels.
Not the one of Kamocha.
Nope. Nope. The one in Birmingham.
Next to
Metropole, Birmingham.
So you are in Birmingham, not in Kamocha.
I'm in Birmingham. I'm in Birmingham, not Kamocha. And so basically, today there's a lot of badminton happening. Our girl, Husna Kobogabe, getting a victory yesterday in the singles. Yeah. She is into the round of 32, and she's going to play a Kenyan girl called Gupta Swamei. That is going to be about. It's going to be about 2 o'clock Ugandan time. It's great for us to get results in those badminton singles. We didn't perform pretty well in the team events, but when it comes to the singles and performing the way we are, it's a great spectacle for us. We played 6 games in badminton yesterday, and we won 3 of them. So it doesn't come easily for us to get such a results anywhere in the world. Then, of course, yesterday we lost boxer Joshua Tukamuhebwa. He lost his fight to White Sanford from Canada, but it was a split decision. He fought gallantly. I think personally he lost it in the second round. He gave away too much in the second round. He was the judge, the referee gave him a count, and I'm told by these guys here that when the referee gives you a count, it influences the mind of the judges psychologically that you are on the receiving end. So chances for you winning a bout that goes to the distance is very difficult. And that's why I think in the past a man said that you go to the ring, knockout is what is called upon Ugandans to do back then. But anyways, the girl, Teddy Nakimori, we have a medal, by the way, Ruben, and Ugandans watching this. Good morning, Uganda. The best in the world, even where I am here in Birmingham. We have a medal today already. We have 3 medals now. The marathon gold, the Jacob Kiplimo gold, and the girl, Teddy Nakimuri, who did not fight yesterday. Her opponent failed to meet the grade in terms of kilograms, because boxing is very clear. You've got to fit within the weight. Ruben, you are, I think you're a welterweight guy, 63 to 64, 65, 67 kilograms guy. I am not in that category. I am a heavyweight.
John Barnes, let me correct you very well. I am not 67, I am actually 99. Please, don't undermine my weight.
Okay, I apologize, but I doubt. I'll have to first prove that when I get back to Kampala next week. Anyway, Teddy Nakimuri is a flyweight. The opponent from Sierra Leone, a girl called Ragigach Jo, wasn't able to cut the kilos. I've seen boxers here many boxers here, including ours, trying to cut weight, because when they arrived, it was a little earlier than the competition is scheduled to start. Now what happens is they get to eat and put on extra kilos. Now the guys struggle to reduce kilos. Great and good news for ours is that all of them cut those kilos to the required standards of their weight divisions. But the opponent for Nakimori didn't, and that gave us a medal. Now, which kind of medal is this? Whoever goes into the semifinals and you lose, you win a bronze. But Nakimori told me she will fight for the other colors, the silver and the bronze. Remember, Uganda Boxing Federation promised them medals. Sorry, cash for whichever medal you win. So as it stands now, Nakimori has 1 million Uganda shillings for that bronze medal. But she wants to upgrade it to the gold, which is 5 million shillings that was promised. Then today is going to be a big one. Most of the activities happening today for us are in the evening and night. But there is a big welterweight contest in which our very own Owen Kibira is contesting against a Zambian called Stefan Zimba. Ruben, if you have TV close to you at night, please don't sleep. I'm telling you, don't sleep before you watch Owen Kibira and Stefan Zimba. Stefan Zimba is very enterprising.
There's GMU tomorrow, Barnes, starting at 6.
No, you don't know. There's some things you can't miss, Ruben. You're a sports person. I've called you in the night to wake up and watch.
But I have bands in Birmingham. Please update us. I have bands in Birmingham, so...
No, this is... Okay, but this is one thing you need to watch. So that by the time I start telling you the story, you also followed. It's going to be a massive contest. Owen Kibira, our Ugandan Owen Kibira, is an enterprising boxer. But tell you what, Stefan Zimba has won the crowd over. He has a lanky hairstyle, and even when it comes into boxing, he's actually good. And Owen Kibira says it's going to be a very massive showing for us. But hopefully, Owen gets that result and enters us into another medal bracket. Then we shall be sure of 4 medals even before the weekend, especially in athletics, where we expect more medals to come through our way, having gotten Jacob Kiplimo into the final, and 5,000 meters, that is, and of course Halima Nakai into the finals of the 800 meters. But here where I am is netball still this evening. We won a game yesterday, 63-26 against Northern Ireland. We play Malawi today. That is an African derby that we must win to stand any chance of qualifying to play for position 5 or 6. Now, it's going to be very competitive. Talking to Peace Proscovia, the captain, last night, she told me, Barnes, if we don't win this, Ugandans are going to skin us. And that is exactly what the mood is like in this camp. As they wake up to come and get their breakfast here at the Hilton in Birmingham, not anywhere near. No. So that is, then there's going to be history making for our para powerlifter, Mr. Dennis Imbazira. Dennis Imbazira came a little earlier than all of us. He came to the UK on the 17th and was part of a training program under a project called GAPS. He is in action this night at around 9:30 Ugandan time. He's going to appear, and he's energized. He says that by the time he left Uganda, he wasn't as good as he is now, and promises to try his level best to win Uganda some kind of
John Barnes, I've got to let you go.
At least respect.
I have got to let you go, John Barnes. Because I have a gentleman in studio. Bamuteze is here for the corporate games.
I know him.
So can he ask you any question?
Send my regard.
You can talk to him. You talk to him.
Yes, John Barnes.
Okay. Good morning, Thomas.
Yeah, good morning, John Barnes.
How are you, sir?
I'm surprised you're enjoying in Birmingham at Hilton Hotel.
Have you been there?
Not yet, but soon I will be there.
Okay. That is well.
We should have best
sleep on time.
Let's talk tomorrow, Barnes. We should have best.
Okay.
That's John Barnes reporting live from Birmingham. Of course, he's a jolly guy. He's so much full of vibe. John Barnes Centamo, and we also love him. He's one of our senior reporters here in the sports department. But I promised that yesterday that I'll have someone from the corporate games, and I'm joined by the gentleman by the names of Bamuteze here. Talk about the corporate games. Good to see you, sir.
Nice meeting you too.
I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, because of COVID. And we are into the post-COVID games now.
You say we, you the who?
We, the corporate games.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, take us. I understand the corporate games are on this Sunday.
Right.
Of course, we need to take us through the program for Sunday.
We are having our second outing or second edition of the post-COVID.
Yeah.
Where we'll be having netball, we'll be having soccer, we'll be having chess training for those who would love to learn how to play chess.
Yeah.
And then we'll be having sack racing as one of the fun games.
Okay, so I understand the corporate games about companies joining, not individuals, and of course about fitness. The way I look at you, don't seem to be fit.
Really?
Are you really part of the corporate games?
Try me. I'm one of the leaders of the corporate games and also working out to ensure that I minister what I practice.
Which working out with this kind of tummy?
No, having a tummy. This is a humble tummy, by the way. It is not the other one that is.
This working out that does not involve size cutting or weight cutting. I don't think it is healthy.
Their bodies.
So how do you lure me as a corporate entity to come and join corporate games when you can't be fit?
Why? Listen.
Okay, sir.
Number one is that besides just keeping fit, because it's unless you've come to the corporate games that you can get to know how fit Bamteze is.
Okay.
Secondly, it's not only just keeping fit, but we're also networking.
Oh.
There are people out there whose businesses require the public.
Okay.
And we're saying at the corporate games you have an opportunity. With over 2,000 people available, 2,000 plus people available, and with over 40 companies, depending on the kind of business you do, I'm sure you can't join the corporate games and live without a business.
Okay.
So we're saying, come network.
Okay.
Come and meet the directors. Come and meet the human resources. People need jobs.
Okay.
Come and meet the PROs. You need people to talk about your products. Probably you will have an opportunity to meet these high-profile people at the corporate games.
Okay.
So we are saying on the 7th, there will be this Sunday from 8 o'clock. We begin with aerobics. Now, aerobics drives everyone, whether you're part of the company or a spectator.
Okay.
You are supposed to be part of that aerobics. It's general for everyone, and we're using qualified personnel to handle the aerobics. Not everyone can just come up and say, we're doing aerobics for you.
Okay.
And with that, together with our companies, we've seen that there has been growth generally. Looking at our first year when we opened up, because this is our second year. We would have been there in 2020, but because of COVID, we ran only one outing.
Okay.
And now with over 40 companies on board, we think we have grown, and yet there are more companies that are still registering. Registration is still open.
I was going to ask you that question.
Exactly.
Now that you've started the second edition of the corporate games, but there are some companies which would love to come on board.
We are saying, please, you're free to still come on board, and you won't lose your games.
Okay.
Where companies are playing 4 games, you will be extending extra 2 games so that you can catch up. Because at the end of the year, you're supposed to have played every company at least once.
Okay. In every sporting activity or discipline, there is of course, there's that duration of time where the season must start at the end.
Yeah.
So as far as the corporate games are concerned, I don't know when this thing will end. I mean, when does the season end, or the second edition, when will it end?
Previously, we were running a calendar year. Apparently, we are running a financial year. Okay. Why? Because we needed to incorporate the government parastatals whose budgets are released in July. So we began in July and we'll be closing in June next year. Oh. That's when we'll be jubilating together, awarding the winners and so on, in a party, in a dinner.
Last time people complained that when they came for the dinner, the actual food was over, they didn't eat enough. The Eddie Mwesis and the John Barnes Centers of this world.
Not possible. We always have food in plenty.
Okay.
And there's no way the hotel can tell us food was over, because our budget is...
Unless somebody came late.
Even when you came late, we go to hotels that keep food there, even if somebody came 30 minutes to the closure.
Okay.
You'll have your food very warm, you'll enjoy it, and then we close.
So what's the prize money? What's there for the winner?
Joining, for the winner, basically we give trophies. We do not give prize monies, apart from those who are joining us that subscribe with 5 million. Only for a full year.
It's not only. 5 million is almost
5 million,
$1,000 plus.
looking at the
so
mileage.
Don't say only.
I'm saying only because looking at the mileage that we give you.
Okay. What mileage do you give us as a corporate entity?
How do we give you that mileage? We have MOUs with some of the media houses, including UBC, where I am right now. The National Broadcasting Corporation, that has given us this mileage, that has given me the opportunity to speak to the public and let them know that, yes, we have the corporate games available. And we have the next media, we have Radio 4, we have Magic FM, we have Nation Media coming on board, and these are not just giving us that mileage.
Media here.
Yes, they are not just giving us mileage.
But don't mention Nation Media here.
Well, I shouldn't mention it
mention it from somewhere else. But anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, these are your competitors, but they're also coming to participate, and it will be a derby. When they get you, they will wallop you. I know.
Which one of
I know your coach. I know your coach will.
For your information, we actually the champions of the media gala.
Really?
Yes.
No, that's a surprise. I'm just getting to know right. And the director told me he's going to be part of that.
Where have they won the next media? Whatever you are kutembearing here. Anyway.
Okay, fine. So I'm saying to those who want to still subscribe with us, Corporate Games registration is still open. Come and network. Come and sell your brand. Come and keep fit. Yes, come and meet people that you've never met.
In Europe, the transfer window is open.
Right.
Clubs are getting players. Right. Now, in the corporate games, for the men who are single, is the transfer window open for them?
Definitely, we have those beautiful girls available.
So the window is open.
The window is open. If you're single and searching, please feel free to come and be part of the corporate games. If you please come. You know, it's not easy. Marriage is a lifetime thing, but you can come and catch up with somebody. Yes, the beautiful girls are available, and we have lots in stock. By the way.
Okay. What time are the corporate games starting on Sunday?
We start our games at 8 a.m. in the morning and close at 5 o'clock. We start with aerobics and close with aerobics. We are urging all our participants to keep time, because for us to be in position to run all the games, we need to start in time.
Okay.
And then one thing I shouldn't leave out is that the directors earn your points. The human resources earn your points. The public relation officers earn your points. Please, corporate games plays people who sit behind desks for long hours. We do not deal with mercenaries. We do not deal with people of 20, 18, 23 years, 21 years. We want people who are mature enough. People who sit behind desks for long hours do not have enough time to work out.
Okay.
These are the people we deal with to ensure that they keep fit, discipline is maintained, there is a lot of networking, and yes, they sell their brands depending on what products they are.
Okay, there's a message here for you, Mr. Bamuteze. Somebody says that just bring me that handsome man in the office for a hug. Hey, so are you here to take our women, you man?
Not really, not really. For today's case, that's not the way things work out.
Okay,
you just don't carry somebody.
Okay, tomorrow the league starts. Premier League kicks off tomorrow. Arsenal takes up Crystal Palace. I want to get your prediction for the Gunners against Palace. They have been in the market. They have got the players. Gabriel Jesus. They have got Zinchenko. So are we seeing Arsenal back to the Arsenal we used to know?
It's the first time I'm seeing the Gunners get responsible players.
Okay.
Players that I think will give them mileage. So taking a win for Arsenal won't be bad for me. Okay. Although they are my rivals. As Man U, I will never leave Manchester United. I'll always be there and tell you.
That one.
Not this one of Kisenyi. I'm talking of the Ronaldo Man U, apparently.
Okay.
And I'm saying Arsenal. There's one in Kisenyi.
So Arsenal against Palace?
Arsenal versus Palace, I give it for Arsenal.
Okay.
And I'm very
painfully Arsenal might win it. You're giving it painfully?
No. Not painfully. I know they will win. Honestly, they will win. They are good.
We are quoting
apparently,
you.
They are
recording you.
Please record, and if they lose, give me a call.
Okay.
A reward awaits. If you give me a call and
after they had lost.
Yes. If they lose.
So what is the reward?
Come on.
Okay, your parting remarks.
To the companies, please don't bring mercenaries, because when we get them, we get rid of the whole company.
Okay.
We mind about the safety of all the athletes that participate.
Mercenaries, you mean
games.
what?
Mercenaries are people who are registered with federations,
okay,
who are competitively participating in these disciplines. We have 12 different kinds of disciplines.
Okay.
And then mercenaries are people who are not staff. Mercenaries are also casual workers, that is contract workers of 2-3 months.
Okay.
Such people have nothing to lose when they misbehave on the pitch. And yet discipline is also key.